Lost Art Project. Veterans Voices with Andrew Cox. Preserving history, one veteran's story at a time.
All right now.
Hello, my friends, and back to the Lost Art Veteran Stories with Andrew Cox. Yes, we changed the title just a little bit, but that's okay. It's still the same old podcast, just new direction with it. But if you're enjoying the podcast, website, that's the Lost Art Podbean.com. See what we're all about. There's a couple ways that you can help support us. Our website, you can click on-time donation link, Patreon with a monthly donation. And you can purchase some merchandise as well. Spread the love, guys, and also advertise right here on the podcast. But anything you do helps get our veteran voices out for all to hear. The Till Valhalla Project, if you guys don't know anything about them, you need to go check them out. It's an amazing organization. Go check them out. See if you can help support them. And that's tillvalhallaproject.com.
Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member.
All right, here we are. I got Rick Bedford here today. Rick, how you doing? Oh, I don't hear you now. Say it again.
Doing well. How are you?
All right, awesome. I thought I lost you for a second there. Well, hey, I'm glad you're here on the podcast. I'm excited to hear your story. I hope you're ready, and I hope you're excited as well.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's start at the beginning for you. Tell me where you grew up. What was that like? And then what drew you to military service?
Okay. Well, I grew up in rural Alabama. I just turned 62 years old a couple of days ago, so it's been a while.
Oh,
and graduated.
Happy late birthday.
Thanks. Typical rural upbringing. Family values. Didn't have a lot of material things. We raised a lot of our own food. We lived near a river, so anything dealing with fishing and water skiing and all that kind of stuff. That was
Right.
what we did back in those days. I was a senior in high school in 1980, going into my senior year, and of course we had a career day like they always do, and
Right.
military recruiters were there. So the Marine recruiter was there in his dress blues, and I was a musician. I played in the band in high school all the way through from 7th grade on up. Drum major my senior year and all of that. So I was talking to the recruiter. I'm like, I'm thinking maybe I want to go to college, become a band director, high school band
Right.
director. And he's like, well, you ever heard of the Marine Corps band? I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, I've seen them, but aren't they like, professional musicians, and I found out later there's a distinction between President's Own and the Marine Corps
Right.
field bands, as you well know. No, I know. I mean, I didn't know that, you could join the Marines and, be in the band. So the gunny set me up for an audition with one of the band officers that, I had to go, to the next big city over in Birmingham to do that.
Right.
And passed the audition, and they enlisted me under a musician's contract. So I, graduated high school.
What instrument was it?
I was a saxophone player, but I dabbled in, several other instruments.
Right.
You play a sax, you can play clarinet, and different other woodwinds. So I did that. Went off to recruit training, July of '81, and graduated September at the end of September of '81, and I'm off to the Armed Forces School of Music in Little Creek, Virginia. Well,
Yeah.
I just turned 18.
What? Before you get into the School of Music, can we backtrack just a little and you tell me a little bit about boot camp experience and what was that like for you?
Oh, sure. So, it was post-Vietnam era. None of my drill instructors were Vietnam veterans, but they were definitely Vietnam era veterans. And for those that went through recruit training during that time, it was tough. It was tough, but we didn't have the crucible back then.
Right.
So that added a whole nother layer of toughness when they added the crucible. We didn't have that, but it was still. I think we spent 9 days out in the field in Elliott's Beach, Paris Island, and
Nice.
so it was tough. I was 17 when I went in.
Yeah.
And it was first time away from home. Didn't know what to expect. Funny thing, they tell you, get a pair of running shoes. Well, I don't know anything about running. I play in the band, right?
Yeah.
So I had a pair of canvas Converse basketball high toppers.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's what I wore in boot camp for PT.
Those are horrible to run in, by the way.
They're absolutely horrible. But I didn't know any better. But you just doing what the DIs tell you to and trying to avoid their wrath. So recruit training was good. Qualified on the range on my 18th birthday, so didn't get any birthday hazing, fortunately, because they were focused on qual day. And it was a great experience. Went in at 135 pounds. When I got home, I was like 146 pounds. So I put on some weight in recruit training, because I was pretty darn skinny when I went in. Not the case today, but
I understand that. Yeah, it's a little different now than it was then.
Yeah, absolutely. But overall, a lot of people look at recruit training as a awful experience. I thought it was good. I didn't like it at the time, and I was glad when it was over. But I had a good experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now, was there any like major events that happened during recruit training that kind of stood out to you?
We had a really good platoon. We won most of the series awards, initial drill, final drill, whatever. We had all of the hardware. It was. I don't know. I'm trying to think of things that stood out. Of course, you always have those characters, right? Everyone has those people that they remember. Like we had one guy from Boston, and he couldn't say yes, sir. He said yes, sir, and the DIs made him stand on the quarterdeck for like 3 hours, just trying to get him to learn how to say yes, sir. He never did.
Yeah.
Things like that. Just the things you remember.
Right.
We had one guy in receiving that made the mistake of laughing, so they made him stand in the corner and laugh for like an hour or something. But he ended up being the platoon and series honor man. So I guess.
Oh wow.
It didn't hurt him that bad. But yeah, I mean,
guess
just
not.
little things like that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's always good to reminisce a little bit about recruit training for sure.
Yeah, the funny stuff.
Yeah. So now, once you graduated, did you go back home on boot leave, or did you go directly to the School of Music?
No, I went home on boot leave, and then I went to School of Music. Got there, and I realized very, very quickly that I was in over my head. I don't know if you
Oh, okay.
got experience with that. I saw a School of Music logo on your wall when we, before we started
Yeah,
chatting. I don't know. Were you a musician?
I was. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so
Yeah, I did 25 years in the band, so
oh, awesome.
I know a
Okay,
couple of
so
things about it.
yeah, I bet you do. So I was one of those. I was one of those guys that failed the F1 exam, and they gave me a new MOS. Okay, but it was. I think it was mostly due to my own lack of effort. Um, but I did know that had I put in the work, I might could have made it through. But still, it was tough. There were people there, with bachelor's degrees
Yeah,
in music and composition. I mean, it was, I'm from some high school in rural Alabama.
yeah.
So I knew I was in over my head, but I also failed to put forth the effort required to succeed.
Mm,
So no one to blame but
yeah.
myself. So the Marine Corps, they called me in. You're going to be disenrolled from the school. You're going to get another MOS. Here's the MOS manual. Pick 3 MOSs. So
Okay.
had a good GT score. I'm looking at down there. Okay, well, I'm qualified for this. I'm qualified for that, and I didn't get any of them. They made me a cook. Uh, so I said,
You didn't get one of them.
I didn't get any of them. But come to find out that if you, at least in '81, when I was there, if you fell out of the Armed Forces School of Music, you're going to be a cook or a grunt. And it was like it was
Right.
almost punitive, right? So here I am. They shipped me off to Second Tank Battalion at Camp Lejeune. So
Uh-huh.
I go to OJT. I didn't go to cook school. It was
Oh, wow.
OJT,
Okay.
and life gives you lemons. You make lemonade out of it. I'm like, you know what?
That's right.
This ain't a bad job. I used to do, a little cooking growing up. So, I kind of knew some of the fundamentals, but, so I, did my job, Second
Hmm.
Tank Battalion. Then I got shipped over to Second Battalion, 6th Marines, first part of '83, picked up Lance Corporal.
Okay.
And just before they were getting ready to head out to Beirut, there were 3 of us in 2-6 H&S
Hmm.
company. They got orders to 3rd FSSG Okinawa. So,
Oh, wow. Okay.
um, 1983. Actually, I went to 2-6 and '82. In '83, I got orders to Okinawa. So,
Okay.
still a Lance Corporal. Got orders to over there. So I went to 3rd FSSG and went to work in the chow hall there. And the gunny figured out I knew how to read and write. So he put me in the stock room, or we call it the storeroom. So
Yeah.
I issued, maintained inventory, unloaded the delivery trucks, and issued, the food supplies, for the mess hall. So I did
Right.
that for a while, and I was pretty good at the paperwork side of the house. And
Hmm.
so picked up NCO while I was over there. Got deployed to bear hunt and team spirit exercises back to back
Okay.
in '83 and '84. And
Now, what were those experiences like when you went to those exercises as a cook? Like, how was your experience?
we were day on, stay on. No days off. Running field mess. Vietnam era. Equipment we were still
Right.
using in the '80s. Um, you know, we were putting out three hot meals a day. Um, they were transitioning from C rations to MREs around that time. We still had C rations when we were on bear hunt. By the time we got into
Okay.
Team Spirit, they started issuing MREs. So
Oh, wow.
those were for when they were out actually doing the big exercise. But
Right.
other than that, we were cooking for about 1,800 people.
Wow.
And again, I ran the storage unit there for that as well.
Hmm.
And that was interesting. As a 20-year-old kid at that point, um,
Yeah.
going out and town in Korea. We were at a place called Uncheon, which I've never been able to find Uncheon on a map of South Korea. But we were told that we were fairly close to the DMZ, but again, we didn't have maps back then or anything. But Team Spirit was in Pohang, or Pohang, as some people call it. So that's easy to find on a map. So I'm like, I've been
right.
So I did that, and like any other young single Marine in Korea, if you do get a little bit of liberty, you're going to go out and corrals and and do the that people do in those countries. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, absolutely.
They had good food. Good drink, something called soju. I don't know if you ever experienced that. Yeah,
I've not experienced it, but I've definitely heard of one or two stories about it.
yeah. Something called Captain Q was another drink that was very popular. So.
Okay.
But yeah, came back to Okinawa. This was early '84, and they sent me on a CSSD to Camp Fuji at the base camp. I'm sorry, not the base camp, but we were up the hill. We weren't, we weren't down at the permanent personnel base camp. We were up on the hill, still in Kwanzaa and stuff. So the job, I was an NCO by then. They gave me the job of chief messman. So all of the people from the other battalions that were being supported, would provide Marines to do the, help run the chow hall as far as the cleaning and, that sort of thing. So I was in charge of those people that did not want to be there. No one wanted mess duty, right? So my job was to keep those devil dogs in line. I think I did a pretty good job. I got an award when I left there. So.
Nice.
So it was time for me to re-enlist, and I'm like, gosh, do I really want to re-enlist, or do I want to go home and go to college and still pursue my dream of being a band director? And I'm like, the Marine Corps has been good to me so far. I re-enlisted while I was there. I put in my papers while I was still at Fuji to re-enlist. And then at the end of the operation, they sent us back to Okinawa, and I did my re-enlistment there. So, they sent me. I didn't request a duty station, but they sent me to barracks duty at Naval Air Station, Brunswick, Maine.
Oh wow! Okay.
Which doesn't exist anymore. It's been closed for years. So I went there, and I'm like, Brunswick, isn't that in Canada somewhere? I'm thinking New Brunswick. Right? But, no, it's in the U.S. So I get to Brunswick, Maine, and the Marines there, comprised a guard force for the installation.
Right.
We did the gate security, and we also there was a weapons compound. We guarded that, and it was interesting. First time I'd ever been up north, right? Because I'm a Southern boy. And
how was that experience?
I had never driven in snow. So I had to learn how to drive in the snow. And there was a lot of snow. And it was just, as they say up there, wicked cold.
I love it.
That was good. That was good duty, though. Gosh, that was such good duty. We worked a lot of hours.
Now on that, you weren't doing your cook responsibilities. You were actually doing security. Is that what you were doing?
Yeah. Like the first year and a half I was there, I was on the guard force, and because they already had a cook there, and the Marines were only required to provide one cook to the Navy chow hall.
I see.
To support, and there was a cook already there. They sent me there as an overstaff, I guess. So, but he left. He got out.
Okay.
So they did end up sending me over to the Navy mess hall, and once again, I'm running the storeroom.
Oh wow.
Unloading the trucks and issuing food supplies and doing the paperwork.
Right.
And that was good. I learned learned the Navy way of accounting and ordering. So it was good. I met my wife while I was there. Met her on a blind date. And
nice.
Next month we'll have been married for 39 years.
Wow. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm still on number one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's rare nowadays.
It really is, considering the rest of my story I'm about to tell you,
Oh, okay.
as far as duty assignments and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so we finished our tour at Brunswick, Maine. I picked up sergeant while I was there,
Okay.
and then it was time to reenlist. And
Mm-hmm.
I had been thinking, well, you know what? I need to do a B billet. So, if I want to be competitive, because I was in a fairly slow promoting MOS. It
Right.
took me 6 years time in service to make sergeant. So,
Oh, wow.
so I'm like, well, you know, I'm looking at 6 years in grade as a sergeant to make staff sergeant. What can I do
Whew.
to expedite that? So B billet's the way to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking with the local recruiters in and around the central Maine.
Right.
And it just so happens that their sergeant major was in town, coming up to visit the Marines, and I had to sit down with
Mm-hmm.
Sergeant Major, and he's like, yeah, we'll get you in, I'll send a by name request for you. We just got to get you got to get reenlisted, get orders to recruiter school, and
Right.
and we'll bring you back to Maine. Because
Mm-hmm.
my wife is from there. She grew up there. All her family's there. We're thinking, okay, well, let's see if we can get 3 more years in Maine and then see what happens.
Yeah.
So I reenlisted, and put career planner is like, okay, first choice recruiting duty. It got kicked back and said, tell him he needs to put down 2 other duty station choices. I'm like, I don't know, put out Albany and Yuma. Well, I got orders to Yuma.
Oh, no. Oh, good times.
Yeah, good times. So in December of '87, we
Uh-huh.
get orders to we go to Yuma. My wife is 7 months pregnant with my first child,
Okay.
and here we go to Yuma. We spend Christmas in the hostess house at Yuma, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, that was one of the rough times. They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So,
Yeah. Right.
But Yuma was a great experience.
Yeah.
So I went to the chow. Like I said, I'm a sergeant now, and oh, you're that guy that is good at paperwork. So we're gonna put you in the at the food service office, not in the mess hall, but at the food service office.
Oh, okay.
As the operations chief. So I was the ops chief
Wow.
at base food service or station food service at Yuma for a couple of years. And
Wow.
my boss was a chief warrant officer, and shortly after I arrived, he picked up LDO lieutenant at the time.
Oh, wow.
That program's changed now, so he was a lieutenant, but he was prior, warrant LDO.
Mm-hmm.
He was an LDO. So he's like, you need to put in for warrant officer. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, well, give it a try, see what happens.
Right.
I applied first year, didn't get selected. Applied second year, didn't get selected. And around that time, an opportunity came open to go work at the officers club at Yuma. They had an agreement that two Marine cooks would work at the officers club, supporting their feeding of officers there. So I did that for about 6 months. Got a good experience out of that. Went through NCO school during that time. Got in really good shape. And shortly after that, I reenlisted again.
Okay.
And this time I went. The recruiter screening team was in town, and I went in and I actually did get orders to recruiting duty. So
okay.
Around early 1990, I'm off to recruiter school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got orders to Gulfport, Mississippi. So
Ooh,
another cross country PCS move for my wife and I.
Yeah.
This time with a 2-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Or 2.5.
Which I'm sure that's fun all in itself, traveling that far
with
a young kid like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Good times. So you know, and while I was at recruiter school, it was that time of year to apply for warrant officers. So I put in my third pass.
Oh, wow.
So end of September of '90, I get a call. Well, my NCOIC at the recruiting substation gets a call. Sergeant Bedford, the sergeant major wants to talk to you. I'm like, oh crap, what did I do?
You never want to hear that.
You don't want to talk to. It's never good when the sergeant major calls, right?
Yeah, especially on recruiting duty.
Especially on recruiting duty, and that was interesting. Like I said, I was in Gulfport, Mississippi. It was there before they put in all the casinos and stuff, so it was a different.
Oh, right.
You know, it wasn't like Biloxi Gulfport is today, and certainly it was years before Hurricane Katrina went through there and did a lot of damage. So, so Sergeant Major said, "Congratulations, you made warrant officer." I'm like, really? Okay, well that's great. Now what? What do I do now? He says, well, you know, get your ass back out there and start and keep recruiting, you know, because you ain't leaving until December. But they actually did. I finished. I was on quota as a recruiter through the month of November of that year, and then we got promoted on the 14th of December of '90, and we had to report to Quantico at the basic school in January 14th of '91. Well, we all know what happened on January the 16th of 1991. It was when we started the air war in Desert Storm.
That's right. Yeah.
So, you know, but by the time we graduated warrant officer school, the war was over.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, I mean, it was.
Yeah.
We were in and out of there pretty quickly. We were, well,
yeah.
Let me restate that. The guys that went in August of 1990, they were there throughout all that time. So they were there for like a year. But the actual war itself was pretty short.
Right.
So
how was officer school for you? Like, was that a good experience or a bad experience? How was that?
It was a good experience. I was one of the youngest ones. I'll put it this way. I still had to. I was still young enough where I had to score 225 for first class PFT.
Wow. Okay.
You know, because you know, when you turn, I think it's what 26 years old. I think it is.
I believe so. Yeah.
And I was still 25. So I was a very young warrant officer. In fact, there were second lieutenants in other companies that were probably older than me. And here I am trying to think I'm salty as a warrant officer. Right? I'm still but we had some guys in our company that were like 40 having to do.
Wow.
And, you know, the physicality of going through the basic school. You know, all I know is when I was 40, years later, there's no way I could have done it at 40 years. Because there was a lot of running and jumping. And
there is.
So the basic school was good. You know, made some good friends. I still keep in touch with. A couple of very close friends that I keep in touch with from that era. And so I got orders to Weapons Field Training Battalion, Camp Pendleton, Edson Range.
Okay.
It was my first assignment as a food service officer. Got out there, you know, the mess hall had just been renovated, but they had been in a temporary facility prior to that for the renovation for like 2 years. So unfortunately, the cooks had got into a lot of bad habits while they were in this temporary facility just to be able to get things done, get the recruits fed. You're familiar with Edson Range?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, you know, you have the companies that's doing, you know, grass week and firing week, and then there's the field training when they, you know, go out and they hike up the Grim Reaper and, you know, they do the things out there. Now they have, you know, the Crucible out there that's just, you know, which is still before. So ran the mess hall there. We went up for the Hill Award in '93 for Best Mess Hall in the Marine Corps. We lost out to El Toro, but we made a good showing for Camp Pendleton.
Yeah.
Learned
That's
a lot
awesome.
there about my job. Then I got orders
Mhm.
to 2nd FSSG Camp Lejeune. Guess what? Another cross-country PCS for the Bedford. Now,
You guys love going cross country.
yeah, I'm telling you, if you've been counting, we've been over and back and over and back. You know,
Yeah.
but in between, from 87 to 93, we did 4 cross country PCS.
Oh yeah. Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so went to 2nd FSSG, did some exercises. One in particular was strong resolve,
Okay.
cold weather training.
Mm-hmm.
Did that, and
Now,
we
where
were
was that located?
well, we did cold weather training at Fort McCoy. The actual exercise was in Norway, but I was only on the Fort McCoy piece of it.
Okay, I see.
So we were there again, kind of like a CSSD. We would go in and handle the logistics of the different battalions that were coming in to do cold weather training. Every week we'd get another battalion. So
Oh wow. Okay.
we did that for several weeks.
And that was like a field mess type deal.
Yeah, Fort McCoy is kind of like the old World War II Army barracks situations. We weren't under tents with the field mess, but it was still fairly primitive as far as our abilities to we didn't have a lot of modern equipment, but we made sure the troops were fed well because you need a lot of extra calories in cold weather. So we were being very creative, trying to put as much chow out as we could within the financial constraints that we had.
Right.
And it was pretty good. We got good comments, very few negative comments, mostly good comments. So while I was at 2nd FSSG in '94, my dad got killed.
Okay.
He was killed at home by a burglar.
Oh
And,
wow. Holy cow.
Yeah, and so that was pretty traumatic time. Had to go home and deal with some things, and before that, I never really thought about going to college or anything like that. And I'm like, you know what? I think
Right.
Dad would want me to, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? You're at this point. I think I was like, early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So I started, going to school, taking off-duty classes. I was a Chief Warrant Officer 2 by then.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so I got to the point where I had my 2 years of college, and I applied for the college degree program, which is the officer version of staff NCO degree completion.
Okay.
So I got picked up for that. So I finished my bachelor's degree at University of North Carolina, Wilmington.
Nice.
While I was stationed there at Camp Lejeune. And after that, I picked up CWO3 while I was on that duty. Went to
that was two years at the school. Is that right?
a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Year and a half at UNC Wilmington. The college degree program required you to go full time even in the summer. So you had to be able to complete your degree within 18 months with the stipulation. So I had a 18-month. I was getting the Marine Corps let me go to school. That was my job.
Right.
So that was a great deal. Great opportunity. I took advantage of it. Got my bachelor's, and then I got orders to Fort Lee, Virginia, which is where Marine Corps Food Service School is located, because they closed the one at Camp Johnson and merged it with the Army up at Fort Lee.
Oh, okay.
So I went there, CWO3. I was the academics officer for a couple of about 2.5 years, almost 3 years. Picked up CWO4, and I also got selected for LDO at that time.
So you picked up 4 and was selected for LDO.
Yeah, I picked up 4 in '99 and was selected for LDO in 2000.
Wow.
So
okay.
Summer of 2000, guess what? Bedford family's doing another cross-country PCS move to 29 Palms.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Get to
yeah,
see the
garden,
other desert.
yeah, garden spot of the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
I never went to K Bay. I never went to Iwakuni. I never went to El Toro or Miramar.
Right.
I went to places like 29 Palms, Lejeune,
Yeah.
Okinawa. That was my life. But it was good. We get to 29 Palms. My wife and I, one of the things about 29 Palms is it grows on you.
Oh, yeah.
You either love it or you hate it,
Hmm.
and we actually loved it. Our kids. I have two sons. They were both in Boy Scouts. They had a really strong scouting program out there,
Hmm.
and we were in a good church, and we still keep in touch with the folks that we attended church
Wow.
with.
Yeah.
And in fact, in '02, when I got orders back to 3rd FSSG, because by this time, Captain Bedford had an 18-year-old overseas control date, so it was time for him to
Right.
go back to Okinawa. So we did a 1 year unaccompanied because I knew my follow-on duty station was going to be headquarters Marine Corps. So
Yeah.
instead of moving the family back to Virginia, my wife opted to. They stayed in 29 Palms for the year I was in
Oh,
Okinawa.
nice. Okay.
Base housing there, and they were stable there. They liked it there, and yeah, and so I went back to Okinawa for a year, back to 3rd FSSG as the group food service officer, and
Real quick,
mhm.
I hate to interrupt you, but I got
Yeah,
a question. You said you got to 29 Palms in 99?
in 2000.
Oh, you got there in 2000? Okay, so I got to 29 Palms with the band there in the end of 99. And I was with the band while you were there. Now, what were you
Yeah,
doing as far as the chow halls at that point?
well, I was in charge of all four of them, plus Camp
All
Wilson.
four of them?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I was the
Okay,
base food service officer.
got you. Okay, so the Tank's Chow Hall
Yep,
was right there, right behind the band hall where we were at. And
yep.
man, still to this day, it's one of the best chow halls I've ever been to.
They won the Hill Award for best mess hall in the Marine
Yeah,
Corps. I think
that's
the year
right.
before I got there.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
it
were
was
really
good.
good. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Good old
That's
29
the one
Palms.
everybody wanted to go to.
Oh yeah, it was right up the street from Lake Bandini.
Oh, well, yeah, gotta love Lake Bandini. But what
So
the other thing is, when you went to Okinawa, I too was heading to Okinawa at that time.
wow,
That's pretty wild.
that is. I'm surprised we didn't cross paths.
Yeah, we may have at some point. Who knows,
May
right?
have, yeah, yeah. I'm sure you guys did some of the change of command parades that I had to stand out there and be a platoon commander for.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you were there. You were at 29 when General Weber was the CG.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I love General Weber. He was great. He was great. He was down to earth, mud on his boots kind of
Oh,
guy. I
yeah.
loved him. And
I got
but
to play at his house in the jazz combo quite a bit. So
that's
he was
awesome.
always giving us some beer and you know just letting us have a
Yeah,
good time playing. So it was pretty awesome.
yeah, yeah. General Weber was real big on all the officers going to the O Club on Fridays.
Oh, okay.
It was almost like an appointed place of duty if
Yeah.
read between the lines. But again, good experience with that too. But yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, I remember the 29 Palms band. You guys were on fire, man.
That was
It was great.
that band, and me and my buddy were just talking about this, but that band is probably the best musical or how do I put this, the best musical unit I've ever been a part of. Like as far as the music goes and performing and playing, they were incredible. I mean, it was a great band to be a part of.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I still today, think about what if the what ifs if I'd have
Yeah.
made it through the band program, if I'd have stayed in or whatever. But yeah, to this day, I love listening to Marine bands. I just, I just love it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say, in my humble opinion, you did pretty daggum good for yourself. I mean, you're LDO at this point.
Yeah.
You're doing really good, and so you're in Okinawa, back at what was it, third
Yep, third
FSSG?
FSSG. I was food service officer there. I didn't do any deployments that year. Um, I tried to get on some deployments. My boss was the Group G4, and
Okay.
he was a bird colonel, and he's like, why are you here as a captain? This is CWO2 billet. I'm like, sir, I'm here because I got an 18-year-old overseas control date. That's why I'm here. Obviously, this was before Iraq, Afghanistan, and everybody got new
Right.
overseas control dates, and none of that mattered anymore. But I had a good time in Okinawa. I was away from my family, which was rough.
Yeah.
I got the only time I ever broke 90 on the golf course was that year I was in Okinawa because I got to play golf every weekend. So
Yeah. Now, what was your favorite golf place to play? Like which one?
Well, I broke 90 on Owasso up
Okay.
at Camp Foster.
Uh-huh.
Kadena was a little bit more challenging, but I
Yeah.
like Owasso. Once you get to know that course, it's got some tricks, but it's once you know the course, you kind of figure it out, and
Right.
you're able to play it a little bit better.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I left there in summer of 03. I was actually stop loss for a while, or stop move, I should say, because they implemented
wow.
stop
Yeah.
loss, stop move, while the Iraq War was going on.
Uh-huh.
So I had orders to headquarters Marine Corps. I was at the working for the director of food service, who was an LDO lieutenant colonel, a friend of mine.
Wow.
I was there as his ops officer, as a captain, and that was around the time that we were directed to contract out most of CONUS Garrison Food Service to a contractor. Sodexo is the contract. I was on the source selection board for that contract.
Oh wow. Okay.
And Sodexo won the contract. And I was there for the initial implementation of the regional garrison food service contract, which outsourced at that time 55 garrison mess halls. We did reserve a few mess halls where Marines assigned to the operating forces could work in to make sure that they maintain their skills so that when they deployed, they would still have those skills. But we gave back, I think it was 590 something billets back to the Marine Corps. So we downsized the food service structure in the Marine Corps by.
So at that point, the food service Marines kind of just went to more deployable units and those types of things to do field moves.
Exactly. That was and that we outsourced the recruit depots, OCS, across the board. And boy, were there some growing pains. My gosh, there were growing pains. Especially at the recruit depots, particularly San Diego, because they have just the one gigantic mess hall there.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So my boss and I were on the road quite a bit, going out putting out fires, so to speak, while that was being implemented. But that was, 2003.
Okay.
Going into 2004. So we did, that was a major undertaking. And then by the same token, we were working with Marine Corps Systems Command to finally get us away from the Vietnam era, almost World War II era field food service equipment. So we had a new configuration for field feeding, the field food service system, which is basically a containerized kitchen. Requires a lot of electric power, generator power. That was kind of a challenge. But we also, I don't know if you experienced the tray rations while you were in.
I'm not sure. What is that?
So think MRE and big container that they drop into a container of hot water, heat it up, and then open it up.
I think I have. Yeah.
right. Um, we partnered with a company called Babington Technologies to build a system that would be able to, we could put it on the back of a Humvee, put the tray rations in it, and heat on the move. So they could get out and feed the Marines, as they were dispersed out on the battlefield. So we implemented that, and I got selected for Major in 2004. My boss at the time, Lieutenant Colonel John Fahey, got orders to 2 MEF, and he recommended to the general that to have me succeed as a director of food service. Even though it's a lieutenant colonel billet and I'm a major select, he thought that highly, and me and the general agreed. So they frocked me to major. I was frocked in April of 2004. I didn't actually get promoted, on paper to major until later that year.
Right.
So I was director of food service from 2004 to 2005. They brought me in another LDO captain as operations officer, and that was great. That was probably the hardest job I ever had, but probably the most rewarding.
That's really cool.
Yep. So I got to go out and be part of the Hill Award inspection team, inspecting the mess halls around the Marine Corps that were competing for best mess hall in the Marine Corps. So that was great to get out and see all those Marines, and that was my favorite part of it, going out and talking to the Marines. I would tell them my story about, what, I didn't ask to be a cook either, but life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, and take advantage of the opportunities and have a game plan, and trying to inspire them to, if they want to stay in the Marine Corps, look at this guy, country boy from rural Alabama. They flunked out of band school. They made me a cook, and today here I am running the Marine Corps Food Service program. So when we got to Paris Island, while we were on that trip, it just so happened that 2nd Battalion was the one going up for the Hill Award that year. Well, Private Bedford was in 2nd Battalion. So
nice.
And when we had mess duty, I worked in the scullery, and it's still there. That building was still there, although it's been 20 years since now. So they actually did a little news article about it, come full circle. Started out in at the lowest part of food service you could ever start in, and that's what I started. So that was an honor to do that. But again, my favorite part was going out and talking to the Marines and trying to motivate them. After that, I got orders to back to Fort Lee, Virginia, 2005, to be the director of the Marine Corps Food Service School. Another lieutenant colonel billet. And,
no kidding! Wow.
So I went there, and the detachment CO, Lieutenant Colonel at the time, Jay Malik, he ended up making full colonel. He dual-hatted me as his XO. So I was dual-hatted as XO of the detachment and director of food service school. And unfortunately, Colonel Malik's wife had a medical issue, and she was an active reservist out at Camp Pendleton. So he got a humanitarian transfer out to Pendleton, so he could be with his wife. And she made it, by the way. She
good.
So we kept him in our prayers all that time. So I get a call from the general. Is General Melvin Speece was the general at training command at the time, and he said, "Well, we've already screened. It was a command screen billet, so we've already got the next CO coming in there, but it ain't going to be for another year. So you're going to be the interim detachment CO for a year." So I did that, and they brought me in a captain to be my XO. So So I was still dual-hatted. I was still running food service school, but I was the CO of the Marine Corps detachment.
Oh my word!
And that was actually an 0402 logistics officer billet.
Oh, no kidding. So now you're still a major at this point, correct?
I'm still a major. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been a major for a year and a half. Going on 2 years.
Right.
I ended up. You get to the point. I was 40, 42, 43, whatever at that time, and
Mhm.
and I'm sure you experienced it as well. You get to the point where it's just not as easy to do the physical part of what it takes to be an active duty Marine.
Oh
And
yeah.
and I'm the CO. I have to lead from the front. And when you get to the point you can't lead from the front anymore, it's time to step aside. So
Yeah.
I went ahead when the new CO was coming in 2006, July of
Mhm.
06. I went ahead and retired at that point.
Okay.
Probably would have been in zone for lieutenant colonel the next year, but it would have been another PCS move. The kids were, my oldest son
Oh yeah.
was finishing up high school. My youngest son was going into high school. I didn't want to, I didn't
Mhm.
want to have to move them, and I certainly didn't want to do the geographical bachelor thing again.
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't want to do that. So
I
I
understand.
went ahead. And retired in July of 06. Official retirement date October 1st of 06
Wow.
as a major. So yeah,
Very cool.
that's my
That-
active duty Marine Corps story.
Man, and that's an incredible story. I mean, I think it'd be good for young Marines to be able to watch this and see that, okay, like you were saying, you make the best of what you were given, and how much you were able to progress within that new job is incredible.
Well, God is good, and you take advantage of opportunities that you're given. I picked up
Mhm.
my master's degree along the way. First person in my generation of my family to even go to college.
Yeah.
Um, and
Wow.
did took advantage of everything that I could. Did command of
Right.
staff college.
Yeah. So now talk to me about since you've retired, what have you been doing since?
So when I retired, I got a job with L3 Titan out of Stafford,
Okay.
um, and back to headquarters Marine Corps. They wanted a staff study done. I got hired to do that as a contractor for L3.
Okay.
And in fact, I'm literally at my retirement ceremony about to cut the cake. And my phone's ringing. It's L3. Hey, can you come? Can you start Monday? I'm like, look, it's Friday. I'm at my retirement ceremony. I'll tell you what, at least give me a 96. Let me come in Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I had a 96 and went to work Wednesday as a civilian at L3 Titan. Great group of guys and gals.
Yeah.
So I did that for a while. Opportunity came along to go back to headquarters Marine Corps as a civilian, GS 13. So
Okay.
I took that job, and I went back to headquarters, and I was the program manager for the regional garrison food service contract as a GS
Oh
13,
wow.
and I did that for a couple of years.
Hmm.
And as a geo bachelor, the thing I didn't want to do, but you got to
Yeah.
go where the jobs are.
True. Yeah.
And it was a good transition. So at this point, I'm still
Yeah, but
connected
your
with.
family was still in Virginia though, right? So it
Yeah,
wasn't too far away.
yeah. I got to come home every weekend,
Yeah.
and they let me do what they called a compressed work schedule. So I had every other Friday off or whatever. So it was
Oh,
really good.
nice.
But I wanted to get back to Fort Lee. And I tried to figure out a way to do that as a civilian. So,
Hmm.
are you familiar with BRAC? When the Base Realignment and Closure Commission.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
So, as luck would have it, the Defense Contract Management Agency, which was out of Springfield, Virginia, was getting moved to Fort Lee as part of BRAC.
Oh, okay.
So I started applying for jobs at DCMA and got picked up for one because having been a program manager, I did all the DAU courses for program manager.
Right.
I got level 2. I was working on my level 3. And so DCMA hired me to do workforce planning for acquisition programs. So, whether it's, let's say a piece of armament is being developed by a contractor, depending on where that program is in its acquisition life cycle is going to determine what the workforce DCMA is going to need to oversee that. If it's early on, they're going to need engineers. If it's during production, they're going to need quality assurance evaluators to make sure that the system's being, produced in accordance with specifications. And then if something is at the end of its life cycle, they're going to need, contracting officers with a certain skill set to do contract closeout. So my job was to map all that out and come up with the workforce planning. Well, workforce planning was under the human resources umbrella. So, and I went to DCMA as a GS-13. They were still in Northern Virginia, but they were starting to transition down to Fort Lee. So I was in the advanced party. My boss was good about letting me go down there on the advanced party. So I was still doing workforce planning as a GS-13 at Fort, but I was doing it at Fort Lee. So I got to go home every night, and that worked out really good. It was my son's senior year of high school, my youngest son. So I got to be there for that. And an opportunity came along within DCMA to head up an agency recruiting cell. So at that time, this was before things that's going on today with the current state of civil service. There's a lot of downsizing, but in 2009, 2010, they were looking at an aging workforce with very, very few people that were younger than 45, 50 years old to backfill those positions as people start retiring. So they promoted me to GS-14. I was the lead recruiter for the agency, and so we would go out and we would put together again. Okay, so tell me what you need. Tell me what type of skill set you're looking for. We would go to job fairs, and we hired people into DCMA. They call it the Keystone program, but it was basically developmental. They would come in as like a GS5 or GS7 with a target grade of like GS11 or 12, and so we were recruiting for a lot of younger people for the agency, and we recruited hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people.
Wow.
So that was good. Then I got to be on a temporary promotion to GS-15 as the Deputy Director of Human Resources there at DCMA. So that was a an honor to be able to do that. And then I got tired of cold weather. My kids are grown. My kids are grown at this time. My youngest was still in college. My oldest was out of college. So I start, every year around January, February, I started applying for jobs in Florida. So in 2011, I got hired by the Air Force as an HR director for the Air Force Technical Application Center at Patrick Air Force Base at the time, now Space Force Base. So the kids were grown by then. They stayed in Virginia. My wife and I, we moved down here in 2011, and we've been here ever since. I retired from that job in 2018, at the end of 2018, and that was a great job. It is challenging, probably the hardest job I ever had. Most I ever got paid for any job, but it was the hardest job I ever had.
What types of things were you doing with that?
So I was a director of human resources. So I had every aspect from, just the transactional stuff, hiring and payroll, the personnel management side of the house, but we also were had employee management relations, strategic planning for hiring for the out years, and just the whole gamut. I used to say we spend 80% of our time dealing with 20% of our people. The top 10% that are getting assigned special assignments and awards and those kind of things, and then you had the bottom 10, that you're not, and if you've ever been around federal civilian human resources, you'll find that it's not easy to get rid of poor performing employees.
That is very true.
Yeah. I mean, although it seems that the Trump administration's been able to get around some of that.
Yeah, they're cutting through some of the red tape.
They're cutting through a lot of the red tape. But we have, that's one thing about the Air Force. I love them, but man, red tape. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to get things done administratively in the Air Force. Marine Corps. The thing I love about the Marine Corps is, we'll get to the 80% solution and put steel on target, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to sacrifice good to try to get to perfect, which you're never going to get. We're gonna get the job done. And gosh, the Air Force, they staff things to death. But yeah, the good group of people that I work with down here. So anyway, in 2019, I'm retired by now, and I'm like, several years ago, I went to a Marine Corps League meeting, and I'm like, I'm working full time. I really don't have the bandwidth to really get involved, and maybe when I retire, I'll join. So that's exactly what I did. I'm one of the guys. I show up at the meeting. I got my DD 214 in hand and my checkbook. Nice. So I'm ready to join. So I joined the detachment here in Brevard County, Florida, in 2019. And since then I've been in elected positions up through and including the commandant of the detachment. I'm currently the junior past commandant of the detachment, and we got a good group of folks. We do a lot of things here in the community. We put together an outstanding color guard. My good friend, Master Guns retired Carlos Rivera. In fact, I'm going to be giving him a call after we're done here. He was a prior drill instructor, and he put together a great color guard, and we get booked all the time to do events throughout the county. We also do a lot of military honors at memorial services. We're about a half hour from Cape Canaveral National Cemetery. So we do a lot of rendering military honors up there.
Right.
The Marine Corps League, as the active duty Marine Corps, it's a bandwidth thing. They rely on the Marine Corps League to do a lot of these things. And we're glad to do it. We're honored to do it, and including things like Toys for Tots. Colonel Bill Davis, retired, who's the executive director of. He's Young Marines. Bill Davis is Young Marines. General Laster, who's the director of Toys for Tots, he told the National Commandant, T.J. Morgan, that the Marine Corps League does 1/3 of Toys for Tots. Without the Marine Corps League, Toys for Tots would be in bad shape.
Wow.
So, and again,
I didn't realize it was that big of a.
I didn't either. TJ mentioned it at the convention in Dallas a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I know you were there. That's where we met at. But,
I was there, but I didn't get to go to any of the meetings. I was outside talking.
You were out in the concourse. Yeah. So, or I don't know. Maybe it wasn't TJ. Maybe it was Lieutenant Colonel Cooper, who was there as the Toys for Tots rep.
Okay.
Nonetheless, we learned that the Marine Corps League does 1/3 of Toys for Tots.
Wow. That's
we
huge.
Also we do school supplies drives for local Title I schools that don't have a lot of resources. In fact, we got one going on right now. We're getting ready to dump about $2,000 worth of school supplies on them here in a few weeks that we've collected funds for, and we're going to go out and do that. So Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's great to give back to the community, the veteran community in particular, but the greater community writ large. And
Right.
it's an honor to do that. Back in June of this year, I was elected as the judge advocate for the Department of Florida, state of Florida, for the Marine Corps League, and I'm looking forward to serving the rest of. We have about 48 detachments in the state of Florida. So
wow, 48.
Yeah, Florida, I think, is the third or fourth. Has the most, third or fourth in number of members in the Marine Corps League. Pennsylvania's first, then you got California and Texas, and then I think we're fourth. So we've got
Pennsylvania is first.
Pennsylvania has the most members of the Marine Corps League. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
By far, it's not even close.
Yeah.
I think when I looked at the rosters last, I think Florida's got like 2,600 members. So
okay.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
I just, in fact, so, like I said, as soon as I get off the line here with you, I'll be calling my good friend about we're planning our Marine Corps birthday ball. So, I want to get Carlos's input on a few things. I'm the committee chairman for that. So, so that's about it.
Yeah, this is a big year for the birthday, though. 250. I mean,
yeah,
that's nice.
Our goal is 250 for the 250th. We want to get at least 250 people to come. We've invited our local congressman to be our guest of honor. We're trying to do a lot of advertisement and just really really do it upright this year.
Very nice. That's really cool. Well, Rick, I got a couple of questions for you. I always do this at the end of the podcast. If you're up for that, we can jump into it.
Okay.
All right. What is your proudest military moment?
Military moment. I gotta tell you, I think the day I made sergeant back in '87. At that point, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna make a go at this. I'm gonna stay in the Marine Corps. I just gotten married a few months before that. My wife was on board, and I think the day I made sergeant was probably my proudest moment.
Yeah,
it's definitely awesome. My favorite rank. No, that's not.
Yeah.
CWO4 was my favorite rank by far.
Oh, well, that's a pretty cool rank to have. I'm not gonna lie. CWO4, awesome not many people get that.
Yeah, it was almost a downgrade when I made captain,
but that's good. All right, what was your most embarrassing military moment?
Oh, okay. So we were at a formal dinner. It was for the Joint Food Service Awards, including the Marine Corps' Major General W.P.T. Hill Award, and the Navy's NAE Award, the Army's Conley Awards, and all the branches were there. And we had a table of Marines. We were sitting and having some adult beverages and being Marines, and they were calling up some of the winners, and group of Navy guys was going up to get their award, and oh my gosh, these guys were big fat guys, right? And it's like, one of those times, we're kind of talking with each other, and like, snickering, and told the guy sitting across from me, man, he's got gut hanging out of both sides of that uniform. And it was just that moment that it was silent in the room. And then I said that out.
Very nice.
This day, his name's Jeff Giltner, retired master guns. To this day, when we talk, he brings that up. I was so embarrassed. He says I turned red as a beet.
That's awesome. That's a good one, though. That's a good.
Yeah.
Good one right there. Let's see. All right. If you could be one military leader for a day, who would that be?
A historical military leader?
Anybody.
Oh, if I could be Jim Mattis for one day, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He is inspirational. I've read his book. Followed his career. I'm still salty with the way President Trump treated him, but General Mattis is top shelf in my book.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's see here. Where is it at? Here we go. In the zombie apocalypse, what would be your weapon of choice, and what anthem would be playing?
Oh, tactical shotgun and Marines hymn, buddy.
I love it. I love it. All right. What animal best describes your time in service?
What animal describes your time in service? Oh, I don't know. Golden retriever, because I'm thinking there was that movie that Don Amici was the voice of the golden retriever. Michael J. Fox was one of the other voices. Can't remember the name, but Don Amici was the grandfatherly, giving sage advice, and that's kind of how I saw myself, particularly in my later years, my final times of being out and talking to Marines and trying to inspire Marines. Yeah,
I understand that. Yeah. All right, I always ask this, but which branch of the military has the sexiest uniforms?
Oh, come on, you got to ask that. It's definitely.
I have to ask because I do have other branches of service that I interviewed, so I always like to hear what they have to say about that.
It's definitely the enlisted dress blues. To this day, my wife, she didn't like the officer dress blues. She hates the field grade, mess dress that opens up this way. She likes those enlisted dress blues with the stripes on it and the white belt. Yeah. There was a thing on Family Feud with Steve Harvey, and he's one of the questions was which branch of the armed forces has the best looking men, and then the previous answer was Marines that had 60, and the guy said the Army 3. So
wow. Yeah, well, it is a good looking uniform. I'm a little biased, but
of course
that's okay. Knowing what you know now, would you do it all over again?
Oh, absolutely. Awesome. You look back on your life, you're like, okay, what are the things I would do different? There's things I would do different. I would be better with finances. When I was younger, I finally, got my head wrapped around that later in life. But yeah, I would do it all over again. Absolutely.
Very nice. All right. Well, this is the last one, but what words of wisdom would you have for the listeners?
Bloom where you're planted. That's something one of my mentors told me, and I've kept it to heart all these years. You may not be where you want to be, but do the best you can where you're at.
Yeah,
bloom where you're planted.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Well, hey, Rick, thanks for coming on and doing this. Much appreciated. I always close it out talking about veteran suicide and ways that they can reach out for help. But to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling and need help, anything like that, you can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. I know Rick cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. If you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you served with. Ask them how they're doing. If they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, Rick, one last time. Thank you very much. To all the listeners, stay motivated. Change your sock.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, there are 5 episodes a week, Monday through Friday. Be sure to tune in.